can do with the ethanol extraction here, if you were to try this without a freezer or dry ice at all, you would end up with a green consistency. So you're losing lots of fats and fatty lipids and stuff actually into your product. So it wouldn't actually leave you with a nice desirable dab at the end. It would be kind of dark, most likely green or dark brown.
And you'd probably cough a lot when you took it.
Exactly. Whereas doing a quicker wash, if you're doing it in a freezer, 3 minutes or less, or if you're doing it in dry ice, up to an hour. I usually don't like to go more than an hour because I'll start to see a little bit of green color, but up to an hour in the dry ice mixture, and then just strain it through. I use just a regular mesh filter, and then strain it through a natural coffee filter that has not been bleached, because with the ethanol being a strong solvent, you don't want to use anything along the lines of bleached paper that may potentially have other contaminants leach into your final product.
Good
so
point.
we use the natural coffee filters, strain that through the jar, and then once it's done straining, it goes over into the source turbo here. The source turbo will cook off the ethanol, and it will condense on the top of the jar or on the top of the glass, and then drip down the sides so that it can be collected and reused. And this will save on average about 90% of the ethanol. So you don't have to continue going out and buying a bottle of Everclear every time you want to do a run. When this is done, it takes about 2 hours. The end product will be bubbling on the inside as the vacuum is still pulling the remaining alcohol out. After it's been pulled out, we take the crucible out as quickly as we can, and we scoop out any of the extract that's in there and spread it out on a larger silicone mat to finish, allowing it to cool. Once it's cooled, you're left with a pull and snap consistency.
Like taffy.
Just like taffy.
Atlantic City, eat your heart out. Nice.
So the source turbo works really well for anybody that likes to just put something in there, walk away, and come back to a good final product at the end. It's not really that cheap. It costs about $600. However, it's definitely worth the investment, and if you're interested, Saber and Mike could definitely get a hold of it for you. The source turbo itself actually has an app as well, and the app allows you to monitor the temperature as well as the vacuum pressure that is inside the glass, as well as the remaining time. Take a look here, you'll see it's 105 degrees currently with 100% vacuum level and 89 minutes left. So in 89 minutes the machine is going to stop, but we'll continue monitoring the machine as it gets closer to about the last 10 minutes or so, because depending on the amount of alcohol that you put in there, it may be ready before those 2 hours are up, or it may need to go for a little bit longer after that. When that's ready, we'll get to that and we'll show you guys how that comes out here. But now we are going to move on to the rosin press. So Michael was nice enough to bring his rosin smash along with him this evening, and then we also have a little rosin Tech Go for people to try out. And over here we have some buds that I've actually pressed using it was just a Canagar press, but pretty much the same method as using a pollen press or anything to press the bud into a smaller piece. I like to grind the bud up before I press it because you're left with more extract at the end. It's able to press the bud and allow a little bit more
So
THC.
the structure of the bud itself is not keeping certain parts of the pressing sample from being pressed all the way.
Right.
Because it'll get high in one spot and not press the low spots.
Exactly. So by grinding it up, it's a more uniform across the board press, and I found that with using small pellets like this, you may be left with a tiny bit of bud here or there around the outside edges where your extract is, but for the most part, micron bags are not necessarily necessary on a small press like the rosin here. They're amazing though if you decide that you want to press hash, because hash and keef, there's no way that you're going to be able to get all those particles out of the amount that you press. It's just all going to mash together and you're going to be left with still like a hash chip. So using micron bags with hash and keef will allow you to press it in either one of these systems and be able to extract it as an extract from the hash or heat as well.
So the width of the mesh that you're putting it in allows the hash room to drip the oil out, whereas if you put it directly on the paper, it would just become really super concentrated hash with a little rosin around the edges.
Right, exactly. And we will use normally somewhere between a 90 and a 120 micron filter, usually no higher than 120. But the sweet spot for us, I've usually found, is around 1 to 110. For anybody that's interested in micron filters, Grove, Vermont does have them available as well. But we will go ahead, we're not going to use those today. We'll go ahead and let everybody grab a piece of bud here and get a chance to run it in the rosin go here once it heats up to temperature. So that's going to take probably about 5 minutes to get up to temperature. We're going to run it at 220 degrees, and we currently have it set for 45 seconds. Now the temperature when you run a rosin press is very important. You can either go a higher heat, say around 300 degrees, and obtain more yield. However, in doing so, you lose a lot of the terpenes, which in essence provides you the aroma and the taste from your bud.
Not to mention the unknown medical quantities and qualities that we are just discovering.
Exactly. So the additional benefits in anti-inflammation, as well as anxiety and sleep disorders. So many different other things that these terpenes will also do for you and help with the final product. Say limonene, for instance, is really good for anxiety, as well as it works as a good sedative to help you relax at the end of the evening. Limonene, for those of you that don't know, is a terpene that can also be obtained from citrus peels. So it sort of has like a citrusy aroma and flavor to it.
So when you get something that has lemon in it, that's probably it?
Almost certainly there's definitely some limonene in there. Durban poison and sour diesel are two that come to mind that are definitely pretty high in limonene. So if you press at a lower temperature, say around 190 or so, or anywhere between about 160 and 190 up to 200, you're going to end up with more of a sap, liquid, oily consistency, but you're not going to have anywhere near the amount of yield. With that sap consistency that you obtain, you're going to have more flavor and more terpenes that remain in the final product, which is great for someone that's using it as a medicine. For people that are interested in just getting a fair amount of flavor but still want a decent amount of yield and more of a shatter type consistency, I like to go with 220 degrees for 45 seconds. If you go much longer than the 45 seconds, you actually start cooking the dabs right off the parchment paper, so you end up losing yield in that sense. So right now we're about 185 degrees, so in just another couple of minutes it'll be at the temp. And that sound you hear now is the source turbo kicking in. The vacuum pressure got down to about 97% or so it automatically kicks back in to bring the vacuum pressure back up to 100% to allow the ethanol to keep extracting properly.
I take it you don't want that near your bed.
No, you definitely don't want that near your bed. In fact, this is set on normal mode at the moment. If we were to set it on turbo mode, it would be running much more often. It would be considerably louder as well. But we'll go ahead and pull out some buds here for people to get ready to start pressing. Anyone like to volunteer to go first?
Jordan.
Joe wants to go first.
All right, I just want to watch.
He does now.
Apparently.
If you guys would feel more comfortable with it, I'd be happy to show you first how it works before we have anyone else try it. I can definitely give a quick demonstration.
Yeah, why don't we do that, then I'll end the little video and kick it back in when we try the other rosin. That way people won't be nervous that their attempts.
Basically the difference between the two, the size.
So there's the size difference as well as the pressure difference. The Smash here, I believe, goes up to 1,200, if not more, and the Go here goes up to 700 pounds. So the main difference is the Smash here, you're able to adjust the amount that you want it to compress to be able to set your own pressure, whereas the smaller Go model here is automatically just set at 700, so you just push right down and it locks into place.
Okay.
This one runs for about $300, Gabriel?
Yeah.
And
And
only
this,
weighs about 12 pounds, so it's great for pressing anything down to, or up to about an 8, but I wouldn't press any more than that, because at that point you end up having some of the bud seep out
the side.
the sides of the press and not be pressed as well.
Oh, it's got little crosshairs in it. That makes it easier. Yeah, it's got a little holder too.
Pressure of the smash is 2 tons actually.
2 tons, okay.
Uh-huh.
So considerably more than I thought.
Yeah.
The big one, 2,000? Well, how much is it?
550.
That's more than we calculated all of the complexes before.
But that one also weighs 40 pounds, where the Go weighs 12.
Right.
If you're
And
if you're taking
and
it
the
somewhere.
Smash takes up your
sorry.
front seat, and the Go takes up a little space in your back.